We've all been obsessed with a series, whether it's a TV show, a book, or a game. Obsessed to the point it's scary. You've either stuck with the series for years, or you've binged it in a scary amount of time. Either way, you've put in a godly amount of time into this series. And God forbid you spent money on said series. All this time and money spent on this series, months, maybe even years of keeping up with it, all leading up to the finale. Every unanswered question you've had, every plot thread you've been keeping up with, every character you loved and hated and seeing grow up through their struggles, all leading to what you hope is a happy ending for all of them. What you hope is something satisfying. What you hope is something worthwhile of your time. The final chapter you've been waiting years for. The series finale of your favorite franchise. All for it to be complete ass. What's good, y'all, and welcome back. Hopefully by the time I get this out, it hasn't been an eternity since my last video. But in light of the My Hero ending and people thinking the ending was some hot boo-boo ass, despite it not being that bad, and I'll get to that in a quick second. But with all of that happening, it really made me sit down and think, what really makes an ending bad? And honestly, a lot of things can make or break a finale, like plot threads being unanswered, or even worse, new plots being introduced at the last second just to also not get answered, characters not getting proper resolutions, or just not getting a resolution at all, or just shit going off the wall at the last second with no real build-up or payoff. So I took note and realized that all those factors lead to the main thing that makes the ending bad: dissatisfaction. A finale being dissatisfying to the majority of the audience can leave a sour-ass taste in their mouth, potentially even ruin the entire series if the ending is that bad. I got a good amount of shows off the top of my head that did that. If I had a nickel for every time a show ruined itself in just one episode, I had more than 2 nickels. Now before I get into the actual trash endings, I gotta tell you, is My Hero ending bad? It's not flat out horrible by any means. The memes just make it seem that way. In terms of the way things ended for Deku, I don't got much of a problem with it. I actually like it. Because with him becoming a teacher at UA, it was heartwarming. It made sense for someone like him to become a teacher. Someone who went from nothing to beating Satan himself and saving the world, to become a teacher and teach the next generation on how they themselves could become a hero, make an impact on the world without a quirk. It makes sense. Someone like Deku who's willing to put themselves on the line to save others without a quirk makes sense. Because niggas don't read or understand My Hero, they just make memes out of it. It didn't understand that One For All didn't make Deku who he is. One For All didn't make Deku a hero. His selflessness and willingness to throw himself to the side to save others is what made him a hero. So that's why I don't got a problem with him being powerless, because like it or not, he's still a hero at heart. He's still a GOAT at the end of the motherfucking day. Another thing that was good was All Might beating Night Eye's quirk and getting to live to be old and not dying young. That was just beautiful. Now, with all that being said, none of you niggas could have hit my boy up for 8 years. Once this nigga lost his quirk, y'all just kicked him out the group chat. Y'all had no time to chill with my boy. Nah, it's cool. I see how it is. I see it. I see for what it is. Nigga save the world, loses power, and all my niggas turn into snakes. I see how it is. Nah, it's cool. It's so cool. I'm gonna leave a nigga as regular 9 to 5. Y'all saving the world. Nah, it's real cool. Nobody hit me up. Lastly, Deku's still able to be a hero thanks to his friends coming together to fund a suit for him to work in, with Bako being the nigga that funded in the most, just showing off his character growth. It put a really nice bow on the story, man. I gotta be real, it really did. Now, do I think the ending is perfect? No. There are still some things that I wish that cleared up or went into a bit more in depth into. But for what it is, which is sort of a diet Full Metal Alchemist ending, I fuck with it, and I can't be mad at it. It's just the right middle ground between satisfying conclusion and hella potential for cool ass side stories, which is what we're getting in the future. So with that out the way, let me get into the ass, the shit you've been waiting for, the trash, the shit that flopped on his fucking face at the last possible second. Let's get straight into it.
He had a twin brother all along? That's the big twist we were waiting for?
What a ripoff! I predicted that like a year ago.
There's a lot of cases of anime having endings where people have no complaints about it whatsoever, like Full Metal Alchemist. And then there's endings where they're split between them, complete ass or utter perfection, like Erased, which in my sister's opinion is complete ass. And while I don't fully agree, I agree on why she doesn't like it, because my nigga, You couldn't wait for me? But the killer could? You couldn't wait with my friend? Come on now, dog. Come on now. That's wrong. You know that's wrong, dog. Shaking my head, bro. These bitches fake as hell, bro. 100, bro. Chase a bag, bro. 100. Focus on yourself. Focus on the grind, bro. 100 emoji. Back on topic, though. There are hella anime that just completely fell flat on their face right at the end. For example, y'all remember Wonder Egg Priority? Wonder Egg Priority was anime of the season when it dropped, tackling some mature-ass themes with such care and creativity that isn't seen in much anime, especially with all the different monsters of the week representing each theme. It was perfect, dog. The level and beauty of the animation and art style just brought this shit to life, man. I mean, look at it. Look. It's like crack from my eyes. And then there's the many details that this show just hammered in for people like me that love details and love paying attention to shit in the background. That plus the incredible cinematography, especially for an anime, and you get something people love. And that's just all within 7 episodes, my nigga. And with just 7 episodes to their name and all the momentum in the world on their hands, they fumbled it all with a singular fucking episode. Not just any episode, a recap episode. Now, the recap episode itself wasn't that bad. But it was passable, and niggas still stuck with it because of that. And they soon regretted that decision because the quality of the story that once handled suicide and other mature topics with care took a fucking nosedive after episode 8. Episode 10? Fucking disgraceful. These niggas had a trans man in that bitch. Holy W, because you rarely see that in media. Just a shame that they handled the story with the same care as a FedEx delivery driver and traumatized the shit out of him. And then there's a series having a whole ass plot twist of the bad guy actually being a good guy that was just traumatized due to an AI bot that he made that was jealous of his daughter and then killed his daughter. And we've all just met these niggas at the damn near end of the series. But even with all of that, niggas still stuck with the series and held out for hope. Especially since it was confirmed that an OVA was going to come out to wrap up everything. If only it did. Because half of the OVA was a recap. Damn, another one? In short, these niggas started doing way too much at the very last second, knowing damn well they ain't had the time to do it. This shit needed at least 20 episodes. And these niggas had an hour OVA left to make all this shit work. And guess what? They ain't make this shit work. And left on an open ass door of an ending that just left hella questions and confusion for everyone involved. Now, to add a bit of context to this shitstorm, you gotta get to the root of Wonder Egg's problem. Cloverwork Studios. These niggas already had their hands tied, especially with a series that I'll get to soon, and was given the pitch for this series. And instead of saying, no nigga, we're busy, they let their hearts make the decision and said, hell yeah, we gonna animate this shit, not knowing how much this work was gonna be. Okay, so you know the niggas that worked on Across the Spider-Verse was getting overworked and stressed the fuck out to hit the deadline, and they barely finished that movie on time. Now you probably didn't even know that because of how amazing the movie was. I don't blame you. Now imagine if a significantly smaller animation studio was given the same horrible deadlines to finish a 10 episode series within a year, all having all the little details and shit I said earlier. Great animation, art style, soundtrack, all that. Within a year. Even less, I forgot the fucking exact deadline they were given. It got so bad at points that these niggas were still working on episodes, trying to finish them up while the show was being released, my nigga. That's how bad this shit was. AKA, this shit was destined to fall apart from the start 9 times out of 10. And it did. Now imagine a show that fell apart due to the studio just not being able to fit all of the content in the amount of episodes they had. But also, just straying from the source material and doing some bullshit. Luckily, you don't gotta imagine that. Remember Promised Neverland? This show hit the streets in 2019 like crack, my nigga. This shit was dead ass peak TV. Lovable cast of characters, especially my nigga Ray, threatening ass antagonists, weird lips aside, Sister Crone was fucking terrifying, especially in that tag episode. And the demons, of course they were scary, and of course Mama herself was intimidating as fuck. She literally snapped the main character's leg in half. Couple that with the suspenseful ass moments and abundance of plot twists, and you get a fucking banger, bro. Like when I was in school, and whenever I'd be in band and be preparing for a performance, I'd just be in the stands reading Promised Neverland, bro. On God. Now you're probably thinking, if you don't already know, how could this show possibly have fumbled that badly? And let me tell you, these niggas at Cloverworks made the exact same mistake of trying to fit so much material into so little time. But in this case, they already had the manga as source material, so to fit the time restraint, these niggas just straight up cut hella important content out of the show, and leaving out important shit the shit they cut out until the very last second. And where they left it in there, my nigga, it wasn't even animated. It was in a goddamn PowerPoint slice of presentation. Emma, the main character, met and made a deal with God in a goddamn sliding picture that was on screen for 8 fucking seconds. It's like imagining Breaking Bad in the fucking ending. Fuck Felina, right? Imagine after Walter says goodbye to Skylar, right? It's just this. And then there are shows that just ended on a sad note. And not as in having a sad but good ending. I mean, it just ended on a wet fart. The shit was bittersweet, and it could have done more to justify being a finale instead of just another episode. And the show that has that exact type of ending is Shameless. Now, shows like Shameless don't happen often. Shows with this level of acting, drama, characters, and especially longevity. This show got 11 seasons, bro, and it deserved every single one. Some of the most iconic characters in TV came from Shameless. Lip, Frank, Fiona. They can never make me hate you. Sometimes. And of course the GOAT, Carl. One of the most realistic comedy/dramas ever. Cause damn, this shit can get real. And there's not many shows like it that could just switch up from making you laugh to making you bawl your goddamn eyes out like Shameless can. Cause when shit hits the fan, shit hits the fan. I'm being kind of vague here because I really do want you to watch this show if you haven't seen it already. Plus, my memory is a little hazy, my dog. It's got 11 seasons, don't blame me. But the shit I do remember is what makes this show so great. White Boy Carl. Literally just the whole White Boy Carl arc. Elan's bipolar shit was good too, because it really shed light on how debilitating it could be. Plus his relationship with Mickey. Fiona calling out Monica to Frank and putting it into perspective how dirty she did them. And of course, Frank's words at Monica's funeral. Now with that being said, this ending was kind of ass, I'm not even gonna lie to you, dog. There's hella problems with it. One of them being the fact that the undoubtedly most beloved character in the entire show, who carried the show on her back like 2017 Russell Westbrook, Fiona, just wasn't in the finale. Like she wasn't there at the last 2 seasons and wasn't in the finale. Not even for a cameo. Like how The Office got Michael Scott to come back for the finale. And even though he said one line, it was heartwarming enough. The fact that he showed up was enough. Fiona did it though. And yes, I know why she left. And personally, I don't have any problems with that. But I know a lot of people that had an issue with it. Like my mom, and it soured the ending for them, especially since she wasn't even mentioned by Frank, which was just lame as hell. Another reason was that besides Ian, Mickey, Frank, and Carl, nobody really gets any closure or a definitive ending, which has left the audience feeling empty, and not in a good, well-written empty. I mean a damn, that was it kind of way. To keep it frank, it just didn't feel like a finale, and that's the worst thing a finale could do. It just felt like a slightly more dramatic Shameless episode, which Shameless has a lot of, and better than this. 2 main loose ends being open, too much filler and bullshit going on. It just didn't feel like a finale for one of the most critically acclaimed shows of the 2010s, and that's a goddamn shame. Now before I end this video, I gotta talk about Star Wars versus the Forces of Evil again, because nigga, look, I get the fact that Disney hoed the creator and took away a whole season from her and gave her less time to wrap up the show, basically on some Owl House shit. But the Owl House had way less to work with. I mean 3 episodes to work with, and they still decently wrapped up the show on a good enough a note to satisfy the audience. Star had a whole season to work with and still fucked up the ending. Like, it's crazy how they went with the worst possible ending and tried to make it seem like it wasn't that bad. My nigga, everyone is dead. Like, instead of trying to fight Mina, who is already a shitty final villain, with Eclipsa and her mom, she just decides to destroy all magic. Hey bruh, Mina's out there committing genocide. You know what we should do? A bigger genocide. Like what? Like, imagine if World War III is going on and Joe Biden hopped his old ass on national television and said, you know how to stop this war, guys? You know what I'll do? By blowing up the sun. Mr. President, no! Like, good job, the war is over, but so is all of humanity. Hey man, overall though, niggas nowadays call an ending they don't like bad without really knowing what makes an ending truly bad. Because like I said before, the My Hero ending wasn't bad at all. It's just that niggas think every show can be as good as an ending like Gravity Falls was, and that's just not the case. Not every show can wrap up on their own terms like that. Alex Hirsch is just a real nigga, okay? That's just, it is what it is. Because there's way worse out there, my nigga. Like, imagine if a chapter or episode started with all this build towards the ending. All your favorite characters interacting for the last time. Almost all of the plot getting cleared up. And right as you get to that last page, the last minute of the episode, right before it ends, it just